Hey, what's up? It's the last Uchiha here. It's a new day and a new life, and another React video, actually. My second React video I've ever done. And my first one didn't go so well this morning. I don't know, felt it was like a little long, and I talked a little much, and then I maybe messed up at the end because I was trying to introduce a word, homo saucer, or bare life, in the one theorist's sort of framework, and I didn't do a good job. But it's a new day, it's a new life, and now I can do it in this video. So today what we're going to be doing, in this life, we're watching Kristopher London's reaction to his friend CashNasty being banned from the NBA and being surveilled over Twitter by both the state and the NBA, and then also like kind of criminalized and put in some kind of database or something for future things. And this has big ripples across the YouTube community, but also it's in the context and background of a larger narrative of white supremacy that's been going on and has existed since the existence of the state. But anyways, I wanted to say one thing quickly. When I'm talking about power, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about power. We're talking about power, and it's not just the ability to lift things or something like that. We're talking about, you know, people's lived opportunities, their lived experiences. We're talking about institutions, we're talking about cultures and discourses, and we're talking about the interpersonal level all at the same time, right? So when we're talking about power, some of the frameworks I've been using have been coming from Patricia Hill Collins. Patricia Hill Collins is a black radical feminist theorist, and she kind of is famous for writing something called standpoint theory, looking at like people's social locations and then how things like race, class, gender, abilities, colonization affect people's lived realities and experiences. And these things are not necessarily bad things at all. These are categories of analysis, so we can look at them and see what's going on for people, and we can check in with people, listen to their lived experiences and their realities, and then it informs larger narratives and stuff like that. And they're also new modes of connection and understanding across people, because people think that, like, you know, difference is the problem. It's not. Humans are different. Like, Kristopher London is taller than me. Maybe he's a better shooter than me. Maybe whatever, you know what I mean? And so that's not the issue. What the issue is here is that institutions, cultures, and interpersonal interactions favor one group or one identity over another, and they confer social benefits, power, and privilege that function in different ways and look in different forms in different contexts to different groups, to the dominant group, and then they subordinate a non-dominant group, a non-dominant identity. That sort of thing. I hope that's pretty clear, because what we're talking about, again, is power and inequalities in power and privilege, and as it relates specifically to the 2K community in this example, with CashNasty being banned. And so I'm going to get right into it quick, and I think I got all my stuff plugged in. I hope the sound is okay for you on this one. Again, I'm doing this Soul Illuminati style, no edit, just one take, and hopefully it comes out all right. Let's go.
Mushy Mushy peeps, it's Kristopher London, and
Mushy Mushy, that's kind of like Woozle Wazzle, I guess. I don't know. I think he's a little bit older. I think Chris is a little bit of an older guy. And oh, one thing I wanted to say quickly. I really respect his decision to make a video like this. And here's why. Because solidarity is not something you just say. It's not just going to the street for a cause with a protest banner. Sometimes it is, though, then that's cool too. But it's also the things you do in the world, and it's the choices that you make. And you know, like, I just had a friend who was on Facebook, and they were posting, you know, and they had a situation where they were in need, and somebody helped them out, you know what I mean? And it was good on that somebody to do it. But it shouldn't take an individual to just do it. People should already have what they need in the world to survive and thrive. And solidarity isn't something that needs thanks or anything like that. It's just something that we do. Okay? I just want to make that absolutely clear. Like, our species wouldn't be here if we didn't act in solidarity with each other. You know what I mean? And so it's important that we do that, especially with like the natural world and other things. When we don't, I mean, look what's going on. So back to it.
hey, I have a rant video. I haven't ranted on this channel in a very, very long time. Some of you guys that are new probably didn't even know that I used to go ham on my rant.
Go ham, man!
When I was actually funny. But today I just want to talk about a situation that happened to my friend CashNasty. I know a lot of you are going to say, like, oh, why are you involving yourself? This has nothing to do with you.
No,
I'm a YouTuber. I can talk about it. That's what YouTubers do. I feel like this is why people fuck with YouTube, because you get to see my personality. You see me expressing my opinions, and then you could probably relate, maybe not relate, maybe hate me, send me hate, and get blocked on Twitter. You could do that. Basically what happened was CashNasty, he got banned. He got banned from the Dallas Mavericks arena, and he got banned for pretty much nothing. Literally nothing. Just a threat. I'm just gonna read the tweets, and you guys tell me in the comment section if you, as a security guy, would kick this man. Not just kick him out. Not just kick him out, but ban him from even being in that area for 6 whole months. That's why I'm making this video, is because he's banned for 6 months. It's one thing to just be like, as a threat, we have to kick you out.
Okay, so one thing that whole struck me about this situation I was thinking about, there's a guy, Jordan Peterson, he's like a teacher or something like that here in Canada, and he says really like derogatory stuff, and he takes pictures with like racist memes and all this stuff, and there's tons of students that, you know, believe in that shit and do his shit, and the institutions kind of support him in some way. They would never criminalize him. Like, he can go into a classroom and take a picture with like 12 students with a frog meme, but if he goes into a public setting, nobody's gonna be like, yo, Jordan Peterson, you can't come here for 6 months. But like, who's more likely to cause some damage in people's lives? Let's be real. People like Jordan Peterson, those racist white supremacist guys that are taking pictures with frogs and all types of crazy shit, or somebody like CashNasty who's just trying to get an autograph from like his idol or some shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's the worst thing that happens in the world if CashNasty runs on the court. But y'all gonna let those folk in the gates all the time and act like it's nothing. Yo, surveil them on Twitter. Why doesn't everyone who's on Twitter and stuff like that, anyone who has that white supremacist type of shit, why don't they get a ban? Why is it that Cash is, right? I don't see that kind of stuff. They pose more of a threat to public safety and to community events and to the craft of basketball, let's be fucking serious, than anyone like Cash ever could, than any YouTuber ever could here who's just on their come up from an oppressed community and trying to do the best they can in life. Real talk.
That's cool. I understand that. Better safe than sorry. I get that. But these are the tweets that got him banned. Tomorrow we make history. Save this tweet. I think this was the day of the game. Nervous. Then he's tweeted after that, 2 minutes after that. Tweet when you see it. He's at the game right now. Then the next tweet was second quarter. Now, if I'm security, I'm thinking, okay, this guy, and also Cash was wearing, you know, some shirt saying like LeBron sign my shirt or whatever. Not once did he say I'm running on the court, none of that. But as security, I'm a kind of alert like, oh shit, what's this guy gonna do? At this point, this is when you take him to the side and be like, look, what does this mean? I'm not automatically assuming like, oh shit, this guy, he's gonna fucking run.
I understand the public safety stuff, but I don't think it's right that anyone scrutinizes what people post on Twitter. Because, like, what if you're at a government or public thing, right? And you're like, I don't agree with this public policy. Or what if you're like, I don't agree with this police department. Or, like, whatever. They shouldn't have an entitlement to go on your Twitter and do all types of that shit. Now, it would be different if you're coming from, like, a hate group type of shit where you're trying to use state power to fuck people's lives over. But if you're just CashNasty trying to say something or whatever, like, I just don't think these two things are fucking equal at all. And, so yeah, I don't think they should have the power to surveil people like that. And also, in the realm of like securitization and state theory, got to be real careful here, because what they're doing is intervening in the present to secure a future. But not like, you know, any future, if that makes sense. Like, that's to ensure that no other YouTuber can ever do what CashNasty's going to do. And what if a YouTuber was doing it to oppose an unjust political regime? Or what if a YouTuber or somebody else was doing it to support the players who couldn't take a popular political stand? Let's actually talk about that 1 second, Chris London. I'm going to catch back to you. This is informed within the larger context of white supremacy that burns people's jerseys, that doesn't let players, you know, kneel for the anthem, or demonizes players when they do, when they're not doing it for the anthem. They're in fact doing it in regards to systemic injustice. That's just how it gets interpreted by whiteness. You know, this is the same white supremacy, right, that is now censoring people on YouTube, that is harming content creators and affecting cultural self-expression. The same white supremacy that tried to outlaw indigenous cultural practices and beliefs and all types of stuff way back in the day at the onset of colonization. This is the same white supremacy. This is the same white supremacy. And what's so insidious about this is it affects the players too. So if any of their NBA players ever watch a video like this, the same ban that affects a CashNasty can turn around and affect you as a worker, regardless of how much a person is paid. Regardless of their, you know, like job title, they can still experience racism and the systemic effects of racism and white supremacy, because we're living and our lives are informed within a white supremacist society. So I just want to put that out there.
The court do some crazy shit. Security isn't going to know what Cash is about, how Cash is, you know, tweets, and we know that Cash wouldn't run on the court, do some dumb shit like that. But they don't know that. So they,
even if he did, not the end of the world.
to be like, okay, the player's safety comes first. We got to take this guy out. We've seen Vitaly.
Players' safety, rock with that stuff, but the players can't even speak politically sometimes. And I know nobody wants to talk about racism or make things political, but political things are happening all the time in our lives. Like, so we need to start identifying them, and hopefully we can develop a language to talk about it. But like, some of the most popular players in the world can't take a political stand, you know what I mean? And it's exactly attached to stuff like these exemptions and the ban that they apply to CashNasty, while letting other people attached to other things completely off and not applying those same regulations or laws to them, but then also those same laws exist to simply protect those groups and to benefit them from the onset. So let's go.
Go naked and the fucking shit, you know. Vitaly's, that's Vitaly, alright? But CashNasty, when have you ever seen, he just talks shit. Alright, that's all. He's just a talker. Does he go streaking? No. Is his channel about pranking? Not like that. So what do? They don't just kick him out. They say, look, you can't come back here for 6 months. Off of those tweets that I just read you. Didn't say what he was gonna do. Okay, like, Cash isn't even a Mavs fan. Who cares if he's banned from the Mavs arena? It's not like he's gonna go back. That's not the point, bro. You guys are missing the point. The point is, we're not safe. And when I say we're not safe, I mean us YouTubers. I'm not gonna say black YouTubers, but us YouTubers are not. I can't, now I'm afraid that if I go to
then let's not just say, you know, black YouTubers. Let's say YouTubers from oppressed communities. Let's say YouTubers that are being critical of the existing status quo, because I think it's happening to a lot of people. It's happening to people of different identities and stuff like that. I know an excellent point was brought out that even on the platform itself, there's power inequalities between men and women as well. And so when we're talking about power and how it functions through institutions and culture, discourses, and at the interpersonal level, every individual is a composite of different identities, and these identities are, you know, contextual, but they also function in different relation to different people, different settings, different contexts. And what I mean here is, like, you know, people can be of multiple different identities, but the crux isn't their identity or who they are as a person. The crux is that these institutions are favoring a monolithic, a supremacist sort of view, like, you know, essentially power's flowing upward to a certain group, and everyone else is experiencing downward forms of oppression. So I just want to make that absolutely clear. You know what I mean? It's not just specific identities. Those specific identities are experiencing more extreme. It has nothing to do with the identity. It has to do with the institutions, cultures, and discourses that are very much trying to empower and disempower, and very much creating in-groups and out-groups, and, you know, fragmenting people by degrees of identity and social relation. So I just want to put that out there.
Hey game, I'm sitting courtside. I tweet some shit, some one-worded tweets that could be related to anything. And, you know, you guys or some other trolls reply to that tweet saying, oh, run on the court, and then people are favoriting it and just assuming that. Like, I'm pretty sure people were probably, like, replying to Cash's tweets like, oh, dare you to run on the court, whatever. You get LeBron's attention if you just go up and hug him. Like, that's probably where that's probably what they're looking at. And just off of that, that's enough to kick him out. And so now it's like, do we tweet when we're at games? Like, are we safe to tweet when we're at games? Like,
are you safe to tweet at home?
We're not safe to just tweet whatever we want.
That's
just
the biggest thing.
The fact that
critique things, or just like
threat. Like I said, yeah. I could see, and
or they can just use or they can just use arbitrary power at any time. They can say anything you do is against some kind of thing, and they can use this kind of power again and again and again and again. That's the thing about unjust and arbitrary power and injustice, right? When it affects one person, it affects everyone. Because like securitization or being secure, you know, in life, it's a relational sort of thing. But so is when and what I mean by that is our freedoms are secured by other people, but so are our forms of oppression, right? So it's like, what I'm trying to say here is that when this affects one specific community, like Chris happened to say black YouTubers, or he was going to say, I'm not going to say black YouTubers, but let's just use one instance, one social group, okay? It affects all social groups, because when you open that door to that form of oppression, to any form of oppression, to any form of oppressive power, it doesn't matter, you know, because these categories of identity aren't static, they're relational, they're contextual, and also, like, the identity itself doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people's identities are. Human beings are different, you know what I mean? That's just what it is at the end of the day. What matters is the amount of social power and privilege that's attached to difference and different forms of identity and stuff like that. So that's what we're talking about. And this can really have a serious effect. Not just, I've seen it in the political community. Some of my friends are political activists and stuff like that, and they've posted it on Twitter, or they've done some kind of political art, and the police have come and raided their houses and given them several charges, and then taken all of their computers and stuff like that. And the hopes was that they would get into their encrypted hard drives to see what other political communities and other political activists were doing and stuff like that. So imagine if some of the YouTubers got together and they wanted to protest injustice or something like that, right? And like you get one ban, and you get somebody stealing a camera or computer, and then they, you know, have evidence on it for somebody else, all these different things. I know that's just speculation here, saying I'm just talking out my butt here, but what I'm trying to say is when arbitrary and oppressive power comes into the world, it affects us all, not just one group. And, you know, what reminded me most about, or I should say, hold on, what was most inspiring about this video, and what kind of reminded me of something else, was, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. used to talk about an injustice for one was an injustice for all, and how we all, you know, were tied together by, I don't want to say destiny in the religious sense, but I would say destiny through social relations, like myself becoming as attached to yours. And I had to learn how to do a React video today to do my first one for CashNasty. I don't fucking know how to do React videos, and I'm trying to figure this out just so I can try to do this. So yeah, so like we're, you know, our destinies are tied together, I guess, in some way.
Safety comes first, you know, kick them out. But the ban is where I'm just like, yo, no. Now I feel like we're seen as a threat because, you know, these pranks, and, you know, we have these opportunities getting courtside tickets, and
because of your
influence, they just see us like, we gotta watch out for this guy. He's gonna do some stupid shit probably. Like now it's like, if I'm going courtside, I'm not tweeting. I can't tweet because I'm not trying to lose. I don't give a fuck if I got those tickets for free. That's my money. That's my money. If I'm getting the tickets for free, it's probably because I'm promoting that shit. So therefore, that is still my money. Regardless of the tickets are free, I don't give a fuck. I'm imagining I paid for those tickets. I worked hard to put myself in the situation where I got the tickets for free. That's one another reason I don't think Cash is like too hot. But that doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, he can't step in that area, the Dallas Mavericks arena, for 6 whole months. Not saying he would, not saying that he cares to, but just the fact that he can't and he could get arrested now, that is absolutely ridiculous. Hashtag free cash. Watching that video and then listening to the security said they have proof that Cash said that he was going to run on the court. I think Cash could honestly sue these people because they were sitting there trying to tell him, we have proof that you were going to run on the court. Where was the proof? Cash handled this very, very well. Like, very well. I was actually surprised because he could have just sat there and said, like, look, I'm not leaving until you show me some proof. Have you seen the tweets? I feel like the security didn't even look at the tweets. They're over here. The NBA guy's like, yeah, you got to get the fuck out. We see you trying to do some slick shit or go up on LeBron. We know how much you love LeBron. Like, we gotta kick you out. You're gonna do some stupid shit to LeBron. No. I think Cash was saying, like, he gets that attention every time he goes to a game. Like, people troll
because y'all have a huge amount of
from his account or reply to his account, and security is always coming up to our games like, we're not safe at NBA games.
And I see social justice
I wouldn't say me because I'm not really a troll, but YouTubers and personalities like Cash aren't safe at NBA games just because there's trolls, man, that ruin it for people, and it sucks. It sucks, and when we're paying, you know, high dollar for those seats, and we're just getting kicked out based off of fucking a tweet, that's ridiculous. And I think something needs to be done, and they need to free Cash. Or what if LeBron kicked him out? Cash? No, there's no way. That's now that I think about it, that makes sense. That makes sense. The tweets were so ridiculous. Think about it. Why the fuck would he get kicked out for those tweets? LeBron kicked him. Oh no. I don't think I can post this now. Cash, I'm sorry. I really think LeBron got him kicked out. LeBron knows who CashNasty is, but I don't think LeBron wants to know CashNasty.
All right, so is that? All right, Chris, thank you for your time. Thank you for your video. That was cool, man. So basically, Cash got banned. And when I was finishing the first vid with Cash, I was trying to introduce some piece of obscure political theory, because that's what the fuck we do here, from Giorgio Agamben. I don't know how to say his name. That's how it is. But anyways, And what this relates to is, I guess you could call it citizenship, but more so membership of a political community, in groups and out groups. And what happens here is somebody, Cash, or a group of people, like, for example, the indigenous people, refugees, prisoners, lots of different social groups and people in different identity and stuff have experienced this, where basically they become rendered to bare life, reduced to bare life. They have no political representation. They have no, pull, voice, network connection, or whatever you want to call it in the political community. What happens to them is they're essentially just seen as the lowest class of life that is exploitable, that is, able to be banished, that is able to be punished by any member of the community. Any security guard, any random dude can do it, including the police or just somebody off the street. And, that's just a routine work of authority and power, right? And so they can have institutionalized social power applied to them. But this isn't like in the religious sense. This is, they're being sacrificed, but they're not being sacrificed because of any form of religion. They're being sacrificed in the name of the state. Cash was being made a sacrifice so that nobody else could follow in the steps of Cash, or no other YouTuber could express themselves in that sort of way at a game or in a public setting. And again, why I think this is important is because imagine if YouTubers were banding together for something larger than a basketball game. If it had to do with community, if it had to do with resources, if it had to do with something, and they were banding together and trying to take an unpopular stand or trying to do something that was maybe slightly critical of an institution or a corporation or something. So that's why I think it's really important, and free Cash. Okay, bare life. Yeah. So they have no subjectivity or agency. It doesn't matter what Cash says or does. That's the thing about being rendered bare life. You're no longer a subject in the political community. They treat you like an object. Essentially, you're living property. You're like I don't want to use the word animal, but essentially you're reduced to the status of your basic animality. Basically what you can produce and what they can do to you. Nothing else. You know what I mean? That's being rendered bare life. And you're always in a position of subordination, and that can move at any time. Like, I don't mean your position. Like, say you're no longer bare life, right? But bare life moves around. Like, somebody's always being made bare life in society. In fact, that's how the state empowers itself. Like, even outside of our state, interstate conflict between states, we have some social groups and people being reduced to bare life all the time. They have no political subjectivity whatsoever. You know what I mean? We have endless wars for 17 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they're placed outside of the regular sort of forms of political representation, outside of the regular forms of political community. And they're also made an example for the entire political community, the entire social body, in a form of discipline. And so when we talk about power, when we talk about discipline, a lot of people understand, like, if you punch somebody in the face, you put a gun to their head, that's power, that's discipline. Yeah, okay, that's cool. But there's another form, right, and it's slightly more insidious, and it's about tailoring institutions, culture, and our individual interactions to make people police themselves. That's that panopticon type of shit from Foucault. Construct society like a big prison with light coming in, put all the prisoners around on the outside, put the guard tower in the middle, have all the light coming in so every aspect of society is illuminated, and anyone fucks up, that central guard can see us all, right? And the opportunity is that any prisoner can then become the guard, and because we're constantly under this monitoring, we're constantly under this scrutiny, we're constantly under this form of power, it becomes internalized. Power is no longer gun to our head, power is now just what we fucking think, and now we're not writing the same way we would on Twitter, we're not behaving the same way we would in society, we're not communicating with other people, talking about, radical ideas or questioning things and stuff like that, because there's, we think about the consequences of what could happen because power is ever present in our lives. So, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about power. I got a little long on this one again. It's about 22. It's not as long as the other one, so I'm happy with that. And, yeah, man. I think I'm going to end it there. And, so that's the end of this day. That's the end of this life. And I'm the last Uchiha. Follow me if you want to follow yourself. And hopefully we're going to get there together.